So we all know Eric Bischoff loves taking his shots at AEW. He never misses a chance to kick him in the balls if the opportunity presents itself, or even when it doesn't present itself. He'll just fucking run up and kick him in the balls anyway. He loves that shit. So imagine my surprise when Eric Bischoff was putting over AEW running Wembley Stadium. Check out this clip.
I had a little birdie tell me ahead of time that they were going to, AEW, being the pronouns pal, were going to announce a Wembley show. And I raised an eyebrow and said, the stadium? And I was told, no, they like the arena. Oh, okay. It's the freaking stadium, Eric. And all I could think was how awesome this is for wrestling. You and I have both been fortunate enough to do live shows across the pond here. And man, it comes up every time we do a show, that Wembley show, that SummerSlam 92 show, that for that part of the world, that's their WrestleMania 3. And the idea that someone is going back and running a wrestling show in that same building. And I mean, just the idea that AEW is running a stadium. And I know that's been a goal since day one. You know, and I know once upon a time they looked at this stadium and that stadium, and ultimately it's finally going to happen, an AEW stadium show, and what an arena to do it in. And there's whispers now that, hey, have you noticed they haven't announced it's a pay-per-view, but they were sure to mention that it's the Warner 100th anniversary and the Wembley 100th anniversary. Maybe it's going to be on HBO Max. Maybe it's going to be on TV. Whatever the case may be, they're running a freaking stadium. That's great for the business.
I think it's great for AEW. I think, and we talked about this on Strictly Business, another shameless plug. I think AEW is going to do extremely well. I think I can't predict turnout. Don't even want to try. But I can only imagine it's going to be hugely successful for AEW. Not just that event, because there's still a new car smell, on AEW, and especially in Europe, because now in Europe, they've been hearing about AEW for 4 years.
Right.
Getting bits and pieces of it, however they get it. But now to have that show come to Wembley and a stadium show, it's going to be an event. It's bigger than wrestling. It's a cultural event. And I suspect it's going to do extremely well.
Hey, if you don't mind, will you take the palm of your hand and put it on your forehead? Do you think you have a fever? Because you just gave a compliment to AEW.
I compliment them. People only pick up the things I say that are negative. I am honest as I can be about things.
Yeah, this is a big, big deal. Even Eric Bischoff would agree. Pretty much everybody's talking about this, and everybody that's talking about it is basically saying that, yeah, this is most likely going to be a huge fucking success for AEW. Basically everybody but the internet troll marks that think that AEW is going to get laughed out of the stadium. It's going to be a big joke when 10,000 people show up to this 90,000 seat fucking stadium. That's just not going to be the case. Now, are they going to sell 90,000 tickets? No. But they're definitely going to sell north of 50. If you get 50, 60, 70,000, I would shoot for 70. And I think 70 is very doable. I think they can get more than WWE had in Wembley for SummerSlam in 93. Then I think they'll get more for this AEW show. And we'll talk more about the specifics, and everybody's talking about that. And we'll get into other people's opinions on this too. As far as what matches could bring out the 90,000 people, or as close to it as you can. We'll talk about that in another segment, but just the idea of doing Wembley Stadium, man, it takes huge balls, and it's a big statement, and it's a boss statement, and it's going to work. It's going to work because it's the first time they're over in the UK anywhere. They've never been overseas at all in 4 years. And who knows when they'll go back over there again. Are people going to have to wait another 4 years to see AEW overseas? Probably not, now that they're going over there. But to start with, yeah, absolutely. You know, these people, if you're a wrestling fan, you have not seen any of these guys yet at all. And then in to add on top of that, if they bring out some star power and bust out some big matches and CM Punk's returning, man, they can really do some killer business over there. And they do some good marketing. Look, Tony Khan's already tied in with the Fulham football team over there. So he's probably got lots of different networks already in place for different things he can do. They would not be doing the stadium if they didn't think they could get at least 50,000 in there. But don't just take it from me. Here's another clip here. This time from Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was on the BattleGround Podcast and was talking about this big Wembley Stadium show. Check out this clip.
So the sidetracking a little bit, obviously, Tony announced a massive show last week. AEW's debut in London, All In, August 27th, Wembley. Obviously, from your music background, that is a hollowed grounds, so to speak. What are you looking forward most to this show, from personally for Jericho yourself?
Well, I think from a personal standpoint, obviously Wembley's one of the most famous arenas or stadiums ever. My favorite gig of all time took place at Wembley Stadium, which is Queen at Live Aid, and my favorite show of all time, which is the Freddie Mercury tribute. In 1992 also took place there, which was an amazing celebration. So just to be there will be cool on both accounts. From a business standpoint, I think it was a great move. It's a big time move for Tony Khan to book Wembley. There's been a couple times over the years, the first time in Toronto, you should have booked a stadium, or first time in LA, you should have booked a stadium. Well, this time, our first time in the UK, you should have booked a stadium, and we do. And of course, the people that say you should have booked a stadium are like, you're crazy, it's too big. And it's like, to me, I think we could have done the O2, which is a great arena. We could have done Craven Cottage, which is the venue that Tony owns, I believe, with the Fulham Football Club, which he owns for sure, which him and Shad, his dad, own. I think going to Wembley is really like, oh yeah, hold my beer, check this shit out,
Yeah. Right.
And I think it's going to be massive, and I think it has the potential to sell even more than what the pundits are expecting, because I think it's going to be more than just a wrestling event. I think it's going to be a cultural event. And the fact is, when something becomes cool, that's when people want to go. Like, for example, the Metallica shows this summer in the stadiums. I think people will go because it's a stadium. Let's go check it out, man. Do you like Metallica? I think they're cool, but let me go. I want to be a part of this whole event, like the Super Bowl or something along those lines. Let me just go. And I think we're going to get that reaction. Not to mention the fact that we have such a huge television presence in the UK and a huge fan base there. So it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not guaranteeing it or predicting it, but it wouldn't surprise me if we ended up with 60, 70,000 people in that joint.
No, absolutely not going to be surprised if they do 60. I'd be shocked if they do less than 50. If they do, they're going to do at least 50. I'll be shocked if they don't do 50 at least. But I think they can get to 60, if not 70. If they can get to 70, like a legit 70,000, that's going to be more than Wembley had for SummerSlam 93. And I don't know that I would make that like my official goal. You never want your goal just to be, better than the other guy, just to rub it in. But I would certainly love to reach that little milestone, to have the biggest wrestling attendance in Wembley Stadium over WWE. That would be fucking dope. And look, WWE ain't going to Wembley anytime soon. This is a baller ass move from AEW. This, like Chris Jericho said, this is a hold my beer. Especially after WrestleMania, to drop this, because everybody's talking about WrestleMania and all the hype's there. This steers the conversation back towards AEW, and that's what you want to do. You want to be in the court of public opinion, and you're not going to compete with WrestleMania. But if you can come out after, and especially the sale, look, coming out of WrestleMania, it was going into WrestleMania, it was all about WrestleMania. Coming out, it was all about Cody got fucked, and it was about the fucking the sale. And now look what we're talking about. 2 weeks later, we're talking about CM Punk's return, and we're talking about Wembley Stadium. So good on you, AEW. And there's all those people out there trolling. And if you're listening right now and you're like, ha ha, yeah, right, AEW is not going to get anywhere near 50,000, 60,000. You literally don't know what you're talking about. You just don't. You listen to too much Jim Cornette or something. I don't know how to help you. You're just a hater or a troll or just brain dead. You got to think about it like this, where nobody's saying that they're going to fill the stadium because, well, first of all, nobody's saying they're going to sell 90,000, but 50, 60, 70 is being bantered about pretty freely. And those are all safe bets. And here's why. It's not because AEW is the biggest wrestling company in the world. It's not because, WWE doesn't even draw those numbers over there. AEW can't. You're looking at it wrong. This is the first time AEW's ever been there, first of all. WWE goes over to the UK all the fucking time, twice a year at least, right? And it's a tour over there. They hit multiple cities. They don't just go do one show and then bounce. AEW's going over there for the first time in 4 years, and they're doing one show. You stack that card on top of that, and you bring marquee matches and marquee stars and marquee people. Look, there's people that CM Punk hasn't wrestled in 7 years, and then he came back to AEW, and where did he wrestle? The United States. He wrestled in mostly Chicago, to be honest with you. So unless somebody flew from the UK over, they never got a chance to see CM Punk. You bet your ass there's going to be CM Punk fans that are going to want to see. Well, and all the other stars that are there too. Bryan Danielson, Sting, MJF, fucking name them. You know what I mean? Moxley, Jericho. They haven't seen Jericho in 4 years. This is going to be a big, big deal. They got the built-in marketing. Tony Khan owns, or Shad Khan owns the Fulham football team over there. They have all the networks in place. It's not like, oh my God, we've never been to the UK before. How do we do this? Who do we contact? Where do we go? Oh, I hope we can get the word out. No, they got all of it already built in. Connections with all the media. All the pipelines are already there. Everything's going to be nice and fucking buttery smooth. Then, as Chris Jericho said, this is going to create an event. This is not just going to be a wrestling show. Oh, we're hoping to sell out an arena tonight. We're going to Milwaukee. Oh, they can't even fill Milwaukee. Milwaukee was small crowd, small building. What are they thinking? Yeah, well, they've been to Milwaukee before as well, and it's Milwaukee. This is the entire UK. UK's small too. People can drive. People will be able to take the fucking train from all over. From Ireland and Scotland and Belgium and whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? If people from Russia and the Ukraine will probably stop the war and they'll set their guns down and they'll come watch a wrestling show for a little bit. While they're, you know what I mean? Like, this is going to be a big cultural event over there. As Conrad Thompson said in that clip earlier, this is the original Wembley show, is a show that's still talked about to this day fondly over in the UK. I mean, we still talk about it over here as something special, but the UK is particularly fond of that because they don't get big shows like that. They've had arena shows and they get their UK tours, and every once in a while they're just now starting to get pay-per-views and shit again because of the time difference. It never really worked out that way, so they'd get like a live event tour, basically, maybe a Raw or something, a SmackDown. But a stadium show? When's the last time they had a stadium wrestling show? 1993 SummerSlam, Wembley Stadium. Everybody says that's like their WrestleMania over there. That was their big show that they're still. I was there when that happened. Trust me, this is going to be a huge, huge show. Tony Khan's going to book the fuck out of it. He's not just going to book, the Acclaimed versus the fucking Gun Club. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the main event of this show. All hands are going to be on deck for this. This is going to be a big, big deal. I'm excited to see it. I think you're underestimating it if you think it's going to get less than 50. I think 50 should be a hole in one. I think rumors are that pre-sales are sitting, not pre-sales, but like the registered to do the pre-sale order are up to 45,000. Last I checked, there are 45,000 people that are signed up to buy the pre-sale tickets when they go on sale. Now, it doesn't mean they will buy the tickets. Maybe they'll cancel, they won't have enough money, or they'll decide the build or the hype isn't what they thought it would be. But also, you got to look at it. If there's 45,000 people signed up for pre-sale, like if you and you're taking your kids or your girlfriend or your wife or your brother or your cousin or your best friends or whatever, are you guys all signing up to do the pre-sale order? Or are you signing up to do the pre-sale order and you're going to get tickets for everybody? So you probably buy more than one ticket. So if there's 45,000 people already signed up to buy a ticket, chances are most of those people are going to buy more than one ticket. So we very well could be looking at a sellout of this thing. I would not be surprised if it hit 90,000. I don't think it will, but I think 60, 70 should be a pretty easy goal to achieve. But fuck that. Fuck me, all right? What do I know? I'm just a fat guy yelling at a microphone in my basement. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments below. Is AEW going to sell this bitch out? Are they going to hit 50,000, 60,000, 70,000? Or are they going to fail epically? 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. It's going to look like shit and be a disaster and a bust. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next.
Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.